Hello class, Mr. Guarino here. In this video I'm going to illustrate how to make an animation by taking a character and cutting it up into pieces in Photoshop and then bringing those pieces into Animate and using the bone tool to link them all together and making basically a walk cycle for a character. And let me show you what I made. So here you see SpongeBob walking around, but unlike the one we did previously with a bunch of cartoon characters that moved around, this time his limbs are moving. Now I didn't do the legs because, of course, I don't want to spend a lot of time showing you how to do it. I mean, if I can show you how to do the arms, you know how to do the legs and make them move around too, so it looks like he's walking. So that's the ultimate goal. I didn't put a pretty background, I didn't put anything else on there, any other cartoon characters, any fish moving around or anything. So of course you're going to make the character walk, but you're going to put some background picture there and whatever character you choose, and some representative background and some representative other elements to make it all look nice. And here's the Photoshop file. So you can see I have a layer for upper right arm, I have lower right arm, I have right hand. Notice it's on the left side of the screen, but he's facing me, so that's his right arm and his right hand. And then I have lower left arm, left hand, and the body, and finally the upper left arm. And if you notice over here, this is really the key thing why you need Photoshop. His arm ended along the edge of his body, but you have to break it apart and make it kind of circular so that when it rotates down you don't see a missing part. And that's probably the most important part of this project, that and doing the bone tool in Animate. So that's my finished product. How did I go about getting there? So let's do that. So let me say no, because I've already saved that. And I'm going to open up SpongeBob. Oops. I want to open it in Photoshop. I have another screen and I have my my folder there where I'm opening things from. So open that in Photoshop. And of course it came with a white background and it says background over here. So you guys ought to know how to do some of this stuff now, so I'm going to go through this quick. Control J to jump the layer, turn off my background to add a layer, drag it in between. I kind of like, you notice my mouse has got that like hot pink look to it, so I kind of like that. So let me go to that, that looks pretty good. Any color that's not in the picture. Making sure I'm on this layer using the bucket tool. Going to click here and color that, and of course since I have this layer on still, you don't see the pink, but there it is. So now I'm going to click on layer 1 and I'm going to use my magic wand, there it is, and click over here, hit delete, and then you see all the pink. Control D to deselect, and the magic wand, well, it did its magic, did a great job. So now I want to, let's start off over here with the right hand. So I can't really use, can't use the magic wand to just pick this because it's got the black outline and you gotta pretty much do this manually. So I'm gonna go in here like this, and first I'm gonna cut away the whole arm and hand. And I'm gonna use a tool I really like for manual stuff called the polygonal lasso tool. Before I go further, it's always good to save your work as you're going. So save as. I'm going to go to the folder I'm using, which is me as a test student, Mr. G. And I made a folder called Character Animation. Here's the one I did previously, SpongeBob Copy. So this one's just going to be called SpongeBob. And this box, I never turn it off. You could if you want to, but I leave it on in case students see it. They know that you can just click OK. So now I'm zooming in with Control Plus, so I'm pretty far in there. Use the space bar, click and drag. So So I'm going to click here and carefully go around this arm, clicking often so that my straight lines, because it's the polygonal lasso tool, so that my straight lines approximate the rounded edges as closely as possible. And remember, you're zoomed way in over here, so probably could have went a little further out on that. So because you're zoomed way in, you think you're not doing a good job maybe picking it, but when you zoom back out, any little misses are going to be hard to tell. And you don't have to go around this exactly because that's all transparent. I could have just made like a big oval around there, went really far out, but I'll just go kind of close without being extremely careful, and I'm clicking all the way. And then here, when I get the little circle at the bottom of the polygon, I click, and then I've selected it. So now I'm going to edit, cut, make a new layer, and when you make a new layer, it goes to that layer, Photoshop, so that layer selected. So now I'm going to do edit, paste special, in place. So you can see it's in the same spot. It kind of puts a little gap there. I'm not really sure why. But if I click on that and I hit the arrow key once to the right, you can see it's just like 1 pixel, maybe up and down or up and right, something like that. So I mean, you can fiddle with it, but it doesn't really matter because we don't want it there anyway. So now I'm going to turn off SpongeBob and work just with this. So now this is his like shoulder, and let's say this is his elbow, and then obviously this is his wrist. So let's use the polygonal lasso tool again. Just click here. I'm going to cut where the elbow goes, click here, and I'm looking over to the right to make sure I'm on the correct layer, because that's something that's easily done wrong, but I am on the right layer. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say edit, cut, and then make a new layer and say edit, paste special, in place. You don't really have to do paste in place, you could always move it, but what the heck, right? We got that. And then now this layer that's selected, that's only the upper arm. So I have to go back to this layer because now I want to do the wrist. So I can turn that other one off. You could leave it on, doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to cut through the wrist. I'm going to cut here, here, go around this. Again, you don't have to be too careful. Just don't go over another part of it. Okay, make a new layer. It's layer 5, but it went under 4 because I had 3 selected, so he always puts it above there. So, edit, cut. Oh, I guess I already did that. That's what happens when you're trying to talk. Oh, no, I gotta be on this layer, that's why. Edit, cut, and then go to layer 5, which is the empty layer, the new one, and then say, where'd my mouse go? Edit, paste special, in place. So there's my 3 parts of the arm. I'm going to turn all those off. I'm going to put on the body. But obviously now the body has something missing. So let's put those back on actually. And we just turn this one on, turn this off. So if I was to, this layer, the upper, that's why it's good to name them. So while I'm here, I'm going to name them now because I keep forgetting what they are. So this is the right upper arm, right upper arm. This is the right lower arm, and this is the hand, right hand. Okay, so while I'm on, and this is going to be just the body, so let's call that body. It isn't right now because we still have another arm on the other side, but it will become just the body. So now, let me click on here, the right upper arm, Control T to free transform. This is the rotation point. So right now if I spin it, you see it spins around that. If it's not on by default, this little checkbox over here puts it on. So you want to put that on so you see this little, I guess, plus sign with a circle. So the joint's going to be like, oh, I don't know, somewhere around here. We'll fiddle with it later. Well, whether it was over here or over there, you can see what's happening. As you rotate this, you can see there's nothing there. There's a hole in SpongeBob. We can't have that. So we have to fix that. So let me not accept this rotation. Turn this off. And go to the body, layer, and paint this in. So I'm going to go to my brush tool. Right, brush tool. Click here, use the eyedropper, and choose this color up here, whatever that is. And then using the brackets on my keyboard, I could adjust this. I'll probably make it like this, should be good. And then I'm just going to make SpongeBob's body go like that. Maybe fill this in a little bit. Looks good to me. Then I got to fill in this with that yellow. So I'll go click on this color palette again, click over here, say OK, and then we're going to do this. Now this time I guess I can make it bigger. Be careful not to go over the green with this big cursor. When they make it a little smaller, get in there to fill it in. I mean, he's a sponge, so his lines are not perfectly defined. And then if I want another spot here, because it kind of looks like a big empty space. So let me just go, leave it on my brush tool. Click here, click there, say OK. And just, I don't know, something like that. Looks good to me. And then let's turn on the other arms. And now, well, even turn off the, we just need the right upper arm. So now if I go to right upper arm and I press on that layer, press Control T. Again, don't really have to move this transformation point, but you can. And so now, when he spins up and down, his body is still there. Right? So that's what you have to do when you get a 2D picture from the internet. You're going to have to fiddle with that. In fact, let me show you some other pictures I got from the internet. So Beavis and Butthead, if you wanted to make their arms go up and down and their heads go back and forth, if you never saw the Beavis and Butthead show years ago on MTV, they would evaluate music videos, and they were pretty raunchy, and they would criticize lots of stuff, so that would be cool. You could look up a video of theirs. The little tricky part here is when his arm moves up and down, there's going to be a hole in his t-shirt. So you're going to have to fill that in, just like I filled in SpongeBob. Here's Bender from Futurama. Now his is a good drawing to start with because his arms do not cover any part of his body. So you're not going to have to fill in anything anywhere. So that makes it quite a bit easier. The Incredibles. You could have the girl go running across, making her legs move and her arms move. If you move the arm, you got to fill in the hair. Pretty obvious. The mom, if you move this leg, her foot's taken out a part of her thigh, I guess. You want to do something with Goku? This one's a real difficult one to do because his arms are in front of his body. So if you make his arm move down, you have a lot of filling in to do. And I don't know how good you can make it look with all this different shading. Compare that to this. This one's very easy to do because you can move his arms anywhere. It's not cutting out any part of his body. No part of his limbs cover any part of his body. Likewise with this Vegeta. Maybe a little bit over here, but that's not too much. It won't be too bad. So let me close all that out. close this out, close this out. Okay, so I got my pieces broken up. Looking pretty good. And let me break this one up now. So I'm gonna go back to my polygonal lasso tool. Make sure I'm on the body layer, because that's where I gotta get the arms cut off from. So I'm going to get rid of this arm, so it's just the body left over. So let me click here, click here, click here, click here, click down here. Try and get this pretty close. We can always fix it up with our brush tool. The closer you get, the less fixing you have to do, obviously. A lot of clicking so you approximate the arcs more closely. Okay, cut that. And make a new layer. Probably go above this one. So let me click on that layer first, then click new so it goes above. And then edit. Paste special in place. And then we're going to do the elbow, I guess. So click here. Click there. Go around it while clicking. Edit, cut. Make a new layer. Edit. Paste special in place. And then the last one, click here. Gonna do the wrist. Click here. There's a little bit of an angle on this wrist. Here, here, here. Oops. So if you mess up and you press, you can't really back it up. If I hit escape, it goes away. You got to start again, which is okay. That's why sometimes if you're doing like a lot of coloring on something, you should do it in segments. So if you make a mistake, you have to undo. You don't have to undo the whole thing. So here we go. A little bit more careful. All the way around. Edit, cut. And a new layer. New layer. Edit. Paste special in place. And let's name this left upper arm. And we'll name this, let me make sure what it is, the left lower arm. Gotta really think about that. And then this should be the hand. So just left hand. Okay, so if we put everything on and we zoom out, there's our SpongeBob with all his different pieces that we can then animate. But we're not done yet with our Photoshop, but this video is getting a little long. What I have to do, and I'll show you in the next video, is if I open, let me save this first. Let me open that other one. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to color this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I clicked by accident. We have to color that in, but one of the key things when you're rotating something upon something else, if I said that correctly, instead of just having a straight cut, let's zoom in on that, move that over. Instead of just cutting it and leaving it the way it is, if you round the things off, then as one spins on the other, it doesn't open up and see a gap. And that's what we have to do in the next video, because right now we have everything broken up. But if I go to turn off this left hand and I go on the left arm and I free transform this, let me zoom in. Even if I put this like right where the elbow joint would be, as I spin this, it opens up top, and we don't want that. So we have to make this, make this piece circular, so as it rotates around there, you don't see an opening in the elbow. A little crease here in the elbow, I mean, that's kind of normal on a body, but we don't want to see an opening. I mean, people's arms don't just open up and show a hole through which you can see. So in the next video, we'll see how to do that. We'll do some more Photoshop work to do that in the next video.